finally, at about 8:20, a man holding a small female child stepped into the arrivals hall, and women and other children walked behind them. It was an absolute frenzy. The brightness of the TV lights, clicking of cameras, journalists shouting questions at the group, and then once outside they were ushered into a minibus that was parked at the airport.
13 children and women have just landed back in Australia after being detained in this camp in northeast Syria since the fall of the Islamic State back in 2019.
The vast majority of them are children who were, some of whom were actually born into those detention camps.
3 of the women were charged when they arrived.
Janai Safar, who is the woman that came home via Sydney airport with her child, so she faces 2 charges. So one of those are entering or remaining in a declared area, and the other one is being a member of a terrorist organisation. Then there were 2 other women who arrived via Melbourne airport that were arrested and charged. So that's Kausar and Zainab Ahmad, and they were charged with crimes against humanity, including enslavement and using a slave.
They're part of a larger group of 34 Australians who were detained in these camps. Now, the federal government has been really firm on the fact that they're not helping any of these women and children, but they are Australian citizens.
Even though it's quite a long and difficult journey to get out of those camps, to physically get their passports and to then be able to get on a plane and come to Australia, that it's something that they're legally entitled to do.
And they're not the first cohort to do so.
Even though there's been quite a lot of political debate most recently about this group, there's been other cohorts that have returned ever since sort of 2019. We've had groups of orphans who came back. We had another cohort of women and children in 2022 and more recently in October 2025. Save the Children have kind of emphasised that, where sort of the rhetoric in Australia at the moment is that this is a very unique threat and something that we need to handle in a really careful way. But it's actually something that's not only have we done before here in Australia, but it's a process that's being undertaken in a lot of other countries too, without there necessarily being a great deal of threat there.